join in a second, and then I'll like one of us will just need to mute ourselves. So if you're recording, I'd recommend you stay unmuted and then I'll mute myself.
Okay, perfect.
Not that I'm sharing anything or doing anything, but this is good.
We get.
Hey, did you get your computer working?
It just started working as
Yeah.
right at the witching hour.
Good. Is there anyone with you yet?
Yes, I have Janine, I have Fabiola, and I have, is it Diana or Diane?
Diana.
Diana.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're not alone.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. It's Jacob.
Hey, Jacob.
Did I make this louder?
Hi there. I had something personal pop up. I was going to be there in person, but I am on my way to the airport. So I'm going to put
I
it
saw
on
you get in your car when I was leaving. I was
Oh, downtown or just, yeah, earlier?
in Artisan, yeah.
That's good. Well, all right. I'll just be kind of listening in on this
Okay.
one, but let me know holler at me if you have any questions.
The camera's
Thank
on.
you.
No, I'm here, but my camera says it's not accessible for some reason.
All good. We trust me, totally get it.
Anyway, it's like lit up. Hold on. And I look particularly crappy today, so I thought I'd share that with you all. Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, it was a slow link, like linking on.
Yes.
And you sent the minutes, right? Or not the minutes, the agenda.
The agenda, the minutes,
there we
and then
go.
the
Okay.
job description, yes.
I was like, why did it not open up there? But I'm like, there it is. And then we just need to start recording. So hopefully your computer is
It was on an email that was sent.
Yeah, it's already, it's for, I
I
see the little red dot, so it
oh
should be good.
perfect. It's started by the town hall desk.
Yep, that's the one that I told you I was managing.
327.
So all the meetings now are auto set to record.
Okay, that's smart. Tony's not gonna be able to make it, so we'll just give everything another minute and then we can get started.
It's good.
Cool. Okay, so it's 6 now, so that was a quick minute. So we have quorum since there's 4 of us here. So I'll go ahead and call the meeting of the Communications Committee to order at 6 o'clock on November 4th. And then Belinda, is the meeting properly noticed?
Yes.
Awesome. Next, I'll go ahead and take a motion to approve the October meeting minutes.
Yes.
Okay, you have a second?
I'll second.
I can. There you go. He's got it.
Who's the second? Doug?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Diana, I think you're at the meetings. There we go. Cool. Okay, so then does anybody have any questions or any changes or anything to them? Thought they looked pretty good. Okay, Doug, you good?
Yep.
Cool. Then I'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So moving into discussion items. So the first is the 2025 marketing planning. So you guys will be getting an email from me tonight with basically a skeleton of just some things for us to review for marketing planning, which directly coincides with Belinda's job description, as well as the job description of the marketing specialist, as well as some of the other initiatives that have come from the board and just in general. And then inside the email will be some key dates of just basically when we should have things done by, so that then our December meeting will be able to basically bring a rough document to Belinda, Jacob, and then Charles, and then eventually we can all look at it, say we've signed off on these are the things that we think should be your marketing plan for the next year. But does anybody have any questions or comments about it. I know it's really hard to do like a marketing planning session in a meeting, so figured we can do more of a collaborative thing like we have been doing.
So you'll send a Google Doc?
Yes, it is in a Google Doc. I was working on it this afternoon. I feel like it's in a good spot with the job descriptions. So all good?
Yeah.
Cool. Then if no one has any questions or comments, please though tear it apart, put as many things in there as we want. I think it'll be a really good comprehensive document for next year. Okay, then moving on, the next was it's been a topic we've been talking about now for a bit, but we have the contract and everything set with SiriNet. So just checking on next steps with where we are with SMS since we provided, I believe, the rubric and then like the onboarding plan.
Yes. So when you provided it, I was still very freshly new.
Yes.
And then shortly thereafter, Lauren took time off for personal reasons.
Okay,
And she just returned today.
okay.
So we're hoping in the next week or so to schedule a training for me on how to actually utilize the
Oh,
program.
cool. Okay.
So I just learned how, and I just learned and am actively emailing through SiriNet. So the next step is to learn the SMS portion of it.
Awesome. That's really good.
From
So
my
once I have
knowledge-
that, I'll fill you
From
in.
my knowledge on this, it's all set up in this as far as the system goes. There's nothing we really need to do. If people's contact information is in there, it's really just we need to learn how to use the system, but we don't have to do a lot of work to get anything built out at this point.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really, really good.
And then once we learn how to use it, I think you provided already kind of like a communications on how to like explain it to the community
Yes.
or announce it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is Grand Manners providing you said Lauren is back providing the training, but is Grand Manners also supporting that? Someone in-house that already knows how to do it?
Yeah.
Maybe not here, but
So
someplace.
Since this is a SiriNet platform, they have a lot of help regarding SiriNet. In all honesty, if I had just had more bandwidth over the past few weeks, this was on my radar to reach out to start on it, but I just wasn't able to do that with
I'm sure
with
someone
Lauren
needs to
out
get
as
out
well.
there.
Yeah. And honestly, if it's set up the way that I'm picturing it being set up, it'll be really simplistic, like being able to just click to go to various groups and things. Something that we could do too is if anybody has any questions about the platform, we could send those over to you as well, so we could get
Yeah,
some more
for sure.
clarity. So I actually do I have a couple of questions more so about how deeply can you segment? Because something that I know a lot of residents have discussed is I don't necessarily care that XYZ happened with this tree on the street in a village that I am 3 miles from. So like, how do we be able to like do a better job with some of our segmentation so that we're not sending out mass messages? So we can go ahead and send you.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like levels,
Yeah.
like level 1, 2, or phase, depending on the
Yeah.
extremity. Yeah.
Who needs to know? And
I
who cares about that subject?
I do think that we'll be able to, if it follows the same structure as the rest of SiriNet does, I know it'll be very easy for us to break it down if they're in a service area. So
Okay.
like all of our 14 different townhomes service areas, they're already segmented out when we do mass communications. We can email just their specific service area. So I do know as far as if it is something regarding a tree in a service area or updates for those, I think that it will follow the same structure. And that's a great question as far as if it's just relevant to a specific street that's maybe not in a service area though.
Perfect. That sounds good. Does anyone have any other questions? I know that it's really exciting to see this starting to come to fruition. I think people will really enjoy getting informative text messages.
That's my mode of communication. So yes.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yes.
Email
Hey, quick
marketer.
question. Hey,
Yeah.
sorry. Hey, what, and I'm sorry if I missed this. What's the plan to get folks to opt in? And I'm sorry if I missed that, Janine and team. Is that going to be like a campaign through Monday Matters, or what's kind of the push to get folks logged in?
Yep. So we have basically a push where it would be through the Monday Matters or through the Friday Flash, and have sent over basically like guidelines of like what we would include in terms of messaging of like how many messages will you receive, like what is like my opt-in status, things like that. So I'm happy to send that over to you. We sent that over to Belinda in a Google Doc. Charles, you're muted if you're talking.
Yeah, perfect. Sorry, I was getting drive-through. Yeah, that's
No, you're
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, we can send that over to you, but it's basically a strategy of like going into our current email database and basically saying, here's how you're going to sign up. So we'll have more information on the exact ways that people sign up once the SeerNet training is complete, but then we've given basically a rubric guideline.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Then, any other questions? Doug, any questions? Okay, cool. The next thing we had on the agenda was updates relating to the new branding and agency work that we'd asked about last time. So
Yes. So I met with Mr. Bosch, I think is his name. And he advised me that there was like a small agreement for him to provide like a small branding packet. He provided that to me. The branding packet had new colors. It had a suggested font. And then it had different layouts of business cards, and I think you've
yep,
seen
those
it.
are the ones that we've seen, yeah.
So that is literally where it left off.
Okay.
It was the agreement was for that packet to be provided with a few business cards that he did provide. But beyond that, there is no current agreement and no future agreement. He did ask if we can give him a list of as a wish list of items that we would like to see, and then they can price it out. I did briefly price out replacement business cards for the team members that are in need of it right now. I personally found it to be extremely high. It averaged of almost $1 business card.
Oh, that's really high.
Yeah.
You can get that a lot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really high.
So that makes my concern for utilizing him and his company for other works, because I know that, you know, the regular cost of business cards. Since we have the new colors, I think the new colors are nice and fresh, and he based that off of houses in the community. And Poppins is kind of a generic font that is, everyone likes Poppins. So I think those items we can utilize moving forward, but I don't necessarily think it needs to stay with his company.
Yeah,
Why
I
do
know
we need,
that.
why do we need business cards, by the way?
Well, I know, for instance, Christian, our facilities maintenance manager, he provides them to different contractors, as well as maybe some members in the community when they have questions. And same for Jacob and Lauren when they're out meeting in
Yeah,
the
they're
communities.
They're predominantly used at our resident service desk. They're available within residents' reach if they go there, especially now with our resident service desk being not in the same location as most of our team. It's very helpful for a lot of the residents that just want to leave with something in their hand, to be able to have that card to get in contact with different areas of the team.
Okay.
That's where I've seen the biggest use of them. I mean, I carry them around all events and, handing them out when people ask. And last we mentioned, for Christian, a lot of our vendors have already asked whenever they meet with him for his business card.
The vendor that we utilize for the ballot mailing, I have a really good rapport with her and have worked with her in both my previous 2 positions. And I know her cost is market rate. So right now I have her pricing out the cost of, I gave her the artwork that the previous vendor used. She said she could recreate it pretty closely, and I'm waiting on pricing from her to move forward.
And I would love everyone's input on this too. I think we're at the point, if we're good with colors, if we're good with font. I know that the relationship was one that was carried over from the previous person in your role, that we put a pause on anything, just also because of budget constraints. Also, I know like the business card thing, I know personally, like I have some, I rarely give them out, but I have a digital business card through an app called Popple, which I think would be something interesting to potentially explore. Like they're always, especially in the nature of like a community like this, we always should have something that is more tangible, but also being able to do something digitally might be a really good idea.
Does it match can you do the color?
You
scheme?
can.
Yeah.
So I did it at one of my previous jobs. We did it. It was like it was physicians' offices, and very specific colors, very specific branding. They all wanted theirs formal headshots on it. It was, and yeah, it was really, really easy to do. And it was based off of like a volume number, and it really was not that expensive. So I can send some information about that to everybody, because if that's one of the bigger things we're looking for printing wise, I think everyone's doing so many things digitally. It'd be good to have a second option.
Yeah, I think that's beneficial.
Okay. I'll put that on my list. And there's a bunch of different apps that do it, but I would say like at this point, like anything else branding wise, as long as we have like the colors and a little bit more direction. Again, we didn't really kind of know like what the whole situation was behind the reasoning for the rebrand. And so it's kind of like, if we have nice colors, we have a more updated and fresh font that is also web safe.
Yeah.
Why break anything else if it's not broken, especially with budget constraints we have with everything else going on in town.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys aligned?
I was gonna say that, but Jacob was provided good rationale for that.
Yeah, I typically am not a fan of paper collateral at this point, just because people look at it once and throw it away. But I think it's the nature of our community that there are still a lot of residents who do like paper.
Yeah.
I thought you just use them as a coaster. So
Yeah. Very cool. Then no one else has anything on that. We'll do that follow-up with that for some like the digital items. But then the next is just discussion with you and Jacob. I know you're online. So we can obviously do this for next month as well as we go through marketing planning. But any current pain points or anything that you found, and anything that you would like us to help on or provide some guidance on?
No, I think I've been really kind of diving into the website was been a big task of mine. And the messaging on the website, creating pages or editing pages, which I've been submitting to Jacob as I do. Right now, I think it's really just kind of building out, which I guess at some point we will be meeting with Kanoa, is really building out the new position and what they see success looking like for that position. Because I know what I envision,
Yeah.
but it might not be aligned with them. So once we move forward with, we have the position, Jacob said that they're going to be submitting it, and I shared the job description with you. We're going to be submitting it to HR. So once we have that person in place, really it's figuring out what that looks like for Kanoa, because that kind of trails into everything else, which is a talking point once we get into the magazine, providing Kanoa with more social media access. They want some access to the magazine. So really figuring out how do we provide them access to things like the social media and the magazine without it coming across as advertisements.
Yeah.
That's my biggest, making sure that we're careful with as we move forward with the partner programs and Kanoa with all our communication channels, is to share their messaging without it looking advertising. That's not a word, but
Always a balance.
yeah.
promotional. We don't want it to look promotional.
Yes, thank you. Promotional, thank you.
Information.
Yes. So I don't know if you saw, we did have 2 posts that went up for the open houses.
Yes.
That was added benefit because they raised the prices to the open house. So I created kind of like a standard template. So yes, it is an open house that they're paying to promote, but they do not get their logo on it. It's only one image. And on the back end of like social media, those 2 did really well. So they got a lot of foot traffic and a lot of interactions. So I think, and I mentioned it to the realtors because they asked me why it was done the way. It's because we're trying to still keep with that aesthetic of what everyone on social media likes, which they really like the high quality photos and videos of the community.
I will say, I was actually going to bring that up as something else in like the discussion points, that I had a couple of people reach out and say, why aren't we doing promotions like this? I think that might be something to strategically like looking in. Do we do something like as an in feed? Do we do it as a story? Like, how do we make it so that it doesn't look promotional? So I think that that's something that once we start exploring that relationship more,
Yeah.
that we work on figuring out, because I had 3 separate people be like, what are we doing with the advertising? Like, I'll ask. So that makes sense. But yeah, that's going to be one of those like balance items.
And I also had probably more than 3 reach out to me,
Yeah.
because that was a new way of messaging on the town hall channel. So I think that's something we probably need to kind of work through and just kind of understand what that's going to look like going forward. Because I was a bit shocked when I saw that. I was like, huh, this is new. And I got some raised eyebrows from definitely a few residents. So let's just keep that on the radar for discussion going forward.
Yeah, and I mean, frankly, the graphic you did is beautiful. It's very clean, very nicely done. It looks very professional along the lines of like what you'd expect to see in Celebration. I think for people, it's going to be a shock in deciding to like channel by channel. Do we keep it on Facebook? Do we keep, because like Instagram is also like an extremely visual channel. Like, what do we do there? So
Yeah.
that's something we can definitely work with you on.
Yeah, that'd be great because we're gonna have to figure out what that,
It's a balance.
yeah.
So Belinda and I had a little conversation on this today because I also had a couple residents reach out to me about this. Once I explained to them that it's they pay for this feature, that did settle a lot of their confusion on it. And as I said, it's something new. Something I mentioned to Belinda is that maybe we add at the end of the description on any of those posts where they can, reach out to us to see about these types of opportunities on how adding some wording in that it mentions that they pay for this, that it's not, we're just selecting some to promote on our own end.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And I already put the verbiage in at the end of the text.
Yeah, that language looks good. My one recommendation, if we'd be able to maybe bump it to the top, because people don't read full Instagram captions. If they have to click the little button for the additional, they don't. Because like they're on the back end of like a lot of like the social scheduling platforms, you can see if people click to expand, and most people don't. So that could just be something. If that's Jacob, if that's something that you would be amicable to, it's like a short disclaimer at the top of the post instead of the bottom. But I mean, the way that you wrote it is great.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm okay with that. I think
me too.
especially now, because like you said, I think a lot of this is new, and it's why are we doing this? And so it'll be good for us to explain why we're doing it at the forefront.
Yeah. This
But-
also made
but
me
how
think
are
of
we-
something else I'm gonna be emailing you guys about once I get information is building you like a link tree for Instagram, because one of the big things is in Instagram, there's no functionality to click links in bio.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's something that we could also do as like a benefit of their packages, like for a week or two. And this would be something when the specialist comes in, so it's more like on their plate, where they update the link tree. And I'll send an example of one that I have from a client that I work with.
That would work because right now what I've been doing, I mean, what I have and something we can look into putting for the open houses is it not necessarily always staying there because Instagram's been doing better because I also started archiving anything that's not relevant. So once we pass a certain amount of days or it's an event that's passed, if it was a notification, for instance, pool closed notification, once the pool's back open, I archive it because they don't need to know it was closed if it's currently open. So that's been helping with that. So something we can look into with the link tree, archiving things once it's past a certain point, so we still keep the same aesthetic. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
So real quick, just because I actually was interesting to go and look at it because I learned a lot actually on our website. We actually have an open houses tab, and it looks like you can apply, and I think you pay $20 is how it's modeled.
Yes.
So how does that even work right now in the current? Because I got to thinking about it, like what stopped? Because I mean, what prompted us to pick those particular open houses versus others? Do they pay more into the model, or how does that work? How did we?
It's open to any real estate. From my understanding, it's open to any real estate agent that's selling a home, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is it's open to any real estate selling a home in Celebration. They just have to fill out the form, pay the fee, and then it gets listed on the website for a week.
But did they pay more to get effectively a featured advertisement? Is what I'd say.
Oh no, everyone has that option with the new $5 increase because it used to be 15 and now it's 20. And then the added benefit with the increase of the $5 is the social posts.
But that's not standard, correct? Like they don't standardly get a Facebook ad outlined like on town. I guess that's my question. Like that.
Oh yeah, no. It's only for any real estate agent that completes the form and pays the fee.
I think Charles, and correct me if I'm
Do you
wrong.
want to give Well, Linda, if you want to give the background on this as well, because if I think from my understanding from your end of it is the fee increase came first and then there was pushback on this. So then it was a creative problem solving on how can we get more value in their hands for the fee they're paying. And this was a solution proposed.
Yes.
Is that a correct statement?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so in that sense, it still is something up. I mean, if it is too controversial of an item, this can be reassessed. However, it is, there is a revenue stream tied to it that has had pushback against the increase of the revenue stream. So if we want to reassess it, we should probably look at another alternative, outlet for their information.
No, and
I
I'm
do
not.
think-
No, I'm not advocating to scrap it. I just, again, it's interesting hearing all of this, and I think just again, you all as a committee, sort through this. It's concerning. I think we collectively heard several complaints from residents, not complaints, but feedback. So I think let's just kind of gather what we know and make sure we optimize this and whatnot. Again, I'll go on mute, but it sounds like we're having good dialogue, so I'll leave it to the committee. But to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I think that definitely this opens up a bigger conversation since a lot of people have been like, what is this? Like, not necessarily, I had one person who was starkly opposed to it, but otherwise it was just more of like, oh, this is interesting. Like, what do we do in terms of like channel by channel? Because for Facebook, algorithmically, it pushes it down. There's a lot more posts and you have all the events and things going on. But then Instagram is one of those that once it's in feed, it's there much more prevalently. So it's just something we could build out some guidelines around that then could also be put on this, because I'm on the listing page now too, could be put on that page so it's very concrete. You get one Instagram story, you get one Facebook story, this, that, the other, because I think any bit of exposure on there is, and we could also say like, this is the amount of reach that you'll get on average as well from the post. So that's something we can look into also for you.
Sounds good.
I like that as well. Do we want to do any type of active work on this before the next meeting? My concern is that we continue on the front that we are doing these Facebook posts, and then in a month's time we come up with some new rubrics for this, and then we change it, and then we have the realtors saying, well, why did the change in consistency? So I just want to see where we're moving forward at stand.
So I would say we as a committee are really good at convening over email also, since so much happens real time, that we could build out like a set of guidelines, review it. And I mean, it's Monday. We could probably have something done by end of day Friday, considering how quickly everybody replies. We may not get Tony's input since he's out of the country, but if he has any additional after he's back, we definitely can discuss.
Are you getting a lot more applications for this than what?
I don't know if the applications have changed because I haven't checked with the ladies at Resident Services, but I did send Jacob the insights on the back end, and the one with the higher quality photo did crazy with the shares, the interactions. The second one, the realtor provided me kind of a fuzzy photo, and I found a better photo on MLS. That one did really well. That's the one that did crazy. The one with the fuzzier photo, that one didn't do as well, but it still performed better than any of our normal posts. That I don't know I don't know the history and how that originally started. But I think going forward, that's one of the things that we need to figure out with this marketing specialist, because that would be kind of under their umbrella of figuring out promoting. And then back to what Janine said, with the marketing specialist, if they start going out and meeting realtors and going out, then we really do need to assess, because then are we going to get into too many? Right now, it doesn't seem like that many because not everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
So then that's when we might need to take it off and really stick to maybe stories as opposed to posts. But it's all really new.
What's the end goal, including them in the fee? Was it to give more value for their $5 increase?
For their $5
So
increase.
is there an end goal for us, or is it because we're making money at it? Is it because we're giving a more varied feed, or we're providing more information? What's what do we
Yeah.
get out of it?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's definitely for us, like the biggest thing is with the reach, like it probably has helped some of our other posts algorithmically.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, there's not too many other benefits for us. But like, that's the thing is if we're able to counterbalance it to see like how much reach those posts actually did get, how many shares they did get. And if we look to tailor it to being something where it's in feed, or like we even do something like, I don't look deeply at like the real estate things like in an email or anything, but like if we did something where it's like, you know, click this link, you'll be able to see all the like being able to do some more things creatively. But yeah.
I like your idea of the link tree. Kind of, because then it could just be one, you know, every so often, just a stagnant post of check out our open houses on our link tree. And then that's where we can update it.
Yeah.
Or maybe we, instead of doing social media, we look at maybe just putting it in the Friday Flash or Monday Matters as a link back to the website.
Yeah.
So there's different, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of different options,
Yeah.
but I can draft up some different ideas tonight, put it into a document, everybody provide input, and then send that back to you. And we can also ladder it too with like, this would be like the expectations of like reach and things like that of putting basically like the strategy.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And then it kind of appeases the community who's like, what's going on? We're confused about open houses on our feed. So. Cool. So then is there anything else that you would really think would be helpful or anything else we can?
No, the main thing was with that position, we finally agreed after the version 3 draft, after going back and forth, to get a good job description. And then it's just really figuring out that, you know, that happy medium between getting that person into the community and meeting everyone and helping get the word out, with also keeping the residents, you know, not feeling like everything's becoming too promotional. So.
Awesome. Sounds good. Okay, then does anybody have anything else for this discussion item? Okay, cool. Then the next one that we have coming up is the job description of the marketing specialist that's going to be submitted to HR. And this is for the specialist position that we had discussed before that is primarily Kanoa focused, but also does have some impact to CROA marketing. So Belinda, if you want to go through real quick, I think it's very much like we had sent over some recommendations.
So yeah, there was recommendations sent over. Sorry, everyone. I just have to plug in the cord is so far away. I'm gonna move this. There were some, recommendations, and originally with the recommendations from sorry, I just moved my position from the committee and from Lauren and Jacob. The first draft, I guess, encompassed almost like a 50-50. And from there, Kanoa voiced.
I'll step in for a little bit here
Thank
if
you.
you don't mind.
Yeah.
So we sent the draft that we had created based off of the notes that we had from this committee as well. There was a request by the CROA board to see it, so we sent it to the CROA board, and we also had sent it to Kanoa at the same time. Kanoa was very, very not happy with it in that state that it was, and this was also on their agenda for signing their cost sharing agreement in CJC. So we wanted to make sure, especially during that November or October, what month was that? October board meeting, that nothing was going to be jeopardizing their signing of the CJC cost sharing agreement. So I worked very closely with, and Belinda did as well, to make sure we did a couple revisions with of this job description with the Kanoa board to get it to the point where they were happy with it at the moment, so we could make sure there was nothing that would be compromising any of our other business that was being taking place. I give all of this as pretense because it's really in a spot that we do not want to touch it. It has their blessing. I need to take it to HR. And that's kind of where it sits right now. I wanted to bring it back up to this committee just so that you can understand, what we're looking at as far as the scope of this role. It really doesn't change a lot from what we've discussed. And as we all know, a job description is really a jumping point for a position. But I just want to put all of that out there at the forefront.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean,
Can
I
can I jump
personally-
into, can I jump in real quick? Just,
Yeah.
Jacob, I agree with everything you said. And I'm gonna go outside of my lane a little bit, on this, and I've made some of these comments publicly. We kind of know the position we're in with Kanoa right now. And I would agree. I think the comments, and there were some comments, I believe, from the Croa side, but I believe really we should continue to support Kanoa on this. This is really going to be in support of Kanoa, I would say, more than anything else. So I want to add a little more color to that without getting too deep into it. It's been not great, but I think, Jacob, I think you were spot on with everything you said.
Yeah, I mean, personally
Rob.
looking at this and understanding kind of where we are with Kanoa and where we are with everything, I didn't see anything that was a flag. And again, Jacob, like you said, this is a rubric and a framework. We know that there is going to be times that they're not doing as much with the TikTok account, but they're doing more of updating WordPress. So like, I think I'm personally fine with it.
I don't know if we even have a TikTok, so we might have to create one for.
Exactly. So
But what I will add to that is I have started a small framework to get the new employee when they join us kind of started. So they're not starting with not knowing where to start. So one of the first tasks that I'll be having them work on is the business directory, which is completely out of date on the website. I've been collecting businesses as they come to me and then updating a spreadsheet that has all the businesses. So they'll be working on this spreadsheet first.
okay.
And then updating the website directory. And then after maybe, I would say a few weeks at least before we actually send them out into community to meet with everyone. Because they actually have to learn kind of like I did the first, few weeks of the lay of the land. And then also I've done other things. For instance, there on the homepage of the website, I did a blog post for the now snowing, for the Alfa Romeo show, which is through Town Center,
Yeah.
which is Kanoa. So I've also included them into some of the Monday Matters, Friday Flash. So I've slowly, and social media. So I slowly started in that direction to kind of get a starting point. And so when this new person comes on, it's not all of a sudden like all Kanoa and then no Croa. So that's where you guys will all come into play to help and keep that.
Yeah, I think it sounds good. Does anyone have any comments or anything on? I think, like we said, we've provided a lot of feedback, and if this is something that is now basically agreed to, as is, we understand politics. So
Two more things on it. They did want to kind of tweak the name to it from just a marketing specialist to a marketing and digital marketing. They wanted that term digital in there since there's so much online, and that we will be posting this job rec in probably the first week of December, to try to have the position filled in one of the first 2 weeks of January.
cool, that sounds good. Anyone have any other questions or comments about that? Awesome. Then the last thing that we have was the museum refresh. What does the committee want to see?
I wrote museum, sorry, magazine.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Magazine.
Did I write museum?
No, my brain is on Halloween horny.
Okay.
Sorry.
Was
It
that the last night?
was the last night. I'm in mourning.
Oh,
Clearly. So yeah, so magazine refresh.
Okay, so magazine refresh, I did reach out to the magazine company. They advised me that with the refresh, that there would be costs associated with it. And in order to really provide us the cost of what a refresh would be, they would like some bullet points or some, I guess, a wish list of what that refresh would entail. I know for me, one of the things is the cover, the coloring, maybe because I don't know what colors they use. And then some of it is also formatting, to reference maybe a little bit more of popular magazines these days. But I don't think it's that much of a change, but I don't know, if you have any input on what you would like to see as a refresh.
So we know that that's a very open-ended discussion.
Yes.
And so what we're gonna do is again, pull together a document, crowdsource, have a deadline on it. But yeah, basically take your most recent magazine and comb through it and yeah,
That's my comment, but it has to be for
Yeah.
certain things, but.
And I know for a few things too, we were discussing how, again, we know we have individuals in the community who want tangible paper items, but also there's a lot of things we can be doing to the website to be able to keep that real time and live and updated. And so that's something that could definitely be reflected a little bit more so too. And that was something that had been recommended prior, like, let's put a QR code in to scan to go see like the updated events. Like, I know everyone loves QR codes after COVID. But like just like little things like that, but we'll throw together a document so that then we can get those notes over to you.
Yes, that'd be great. And some of the repetitiveness, that's where us figuring out in January how everything works, because part of the Kanoa position will be Kanoa getting some informational pages. So that will take away or cut back on some of the other pages. But I did reach out to the magazine and request them to give me the formatting, the board count on whole page, quarter page, and half page. So when we move forward in the new year, we can start addressing it and being, hey, right now you get a whole page, but since we're allowing other members of the community to join in the magazine, it's going to be a half page, and this is what it looks like. Because right now, I don't think anyone's ever told anyone what a whole page, half page looks like. It looks like everyone just submits their information, and we do our best to try to get it all in there.
Well, I'm happy that our magazine is going to be modernized, and maybe we can match our image, graphic image with a lot, with everything online and the magazine, our cards, every business cards, everything. So I'm happy that the magazine now is going to be a little modern. It's more modern and with a fresh image.
Yeah.
Jacob?
I just have a quick question that I want to give to this group is how do we want to handle? So, we're going to be bringing on this new specialist for marketing. We're going to see probably in, January and February, some very drastic changes as far as the content we're putting out under the Town Hall brand. And of course, it's going to be just like this open house. We're going to have residents go, whoa, why is Town Hall making these posts? Why is Town Hall doing this? Is there anything that we can do or should do to kind of prepare them for this? Or should it be more verbiage whenever we start doing this about our work with Kanoa, since it's been so almost non-existent for years, and now we're going to come in really hard with it in 2025. How do we best be prepared for this with our large resident base?
So I think that that's when you go into like one of these like new branding optimization type of plans, because I know from perspective of like positions I've been in before, you start doing things, people are like, whoa, what the, if you kind of begin to tailor them into what you are doing, I think basically like the FMF piece too, we could do a little bit more of a plan where in the Friday Flash, it's here's some things you'll be seeing, do a blog post about things you'll be seeing. Like we can build out a plan for that too, but I would say it's something we should probably start now or start, soon, because then once January rolls around and everyone starts seeing the new branding, and then also figure out too, like cohesiveness of brand for Kanoa, cohesiveness of brand Croa, and how do they overlap with each other, but also have identities. So we can definitely help with that.
Thank you.
I like your-
I would like help on that, I think.
Yes. I like your idea about the Friday, because I've been getting a lot of good feedback about the content changing in the Friday Flash and Monday Matters, because I've been working really hard on that. So I think a nice shock to the system with starting that messaging would be maybe small things like changing the banner to a different image, so we can kind of, and then what you mentioned about the blog post and then referencing back to that. I like that a lot.
And don't feel obligated to tell everybody everything that's changing, because most of the time they won't see like the little things. But then if there's like bigger, like you could always do like a why we are doing this an explainer, because this feels like it's going to be much more of a gradual rollout versus a, like in your face rebrand. So we can definitely strategize on our end and help you guys with some rubrics and guidelines of different ways to help. And then we also, being on this committee, you know, we just brought up like the whole thing with the open house, talk to your neighbors, tell them what's going on. And like, I just messaged the people back that asked me, they're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. So, yeah, just like we should be good conduits to be able to help with that too.
Sounds good.
I'm a realtor, so I can.
Yeah.
I can help a lot.
Sounds good. Yeah.
With the magazine too.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a really good time to start doing all of these different updates. What better time than like right at the beginning of a new year to start
Yeah.
doing all of it. So
Yeah, the only thing the magazine did ask me, and I told them because of how, you know, the process of it, they asked me how soon, and I said my educated guess in my short amount of time would be maybe mid-year. I don't foresee it happening sooner than that because there's still a lot of steps.
yeah.
So that's just sharing with you what I shared with them.
Yeah, definitely. Good things take time. So cool. Does anyone have any other comments or questions? And I know bigger discussion.
Do you think we can show a little formats to be used that we like?
Yeah, if you have photos, I think photos is the best. If you have a magazine that you like, I think sending photos
Yeah,
for reference
That's
would
a
be
great
great.
idea.
I literally started a Pinterest board with magazines, like magazine covers and magazine things that, you know,
off of.
yeah, to work off of.
You know, I was an magazine editor, so
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
I love to work on that. Maybe I can bring some magazine.
Yeah, please.
For, you know, like,
Yeah, no, I would be totally, I would be very open to that, and we can put some notes on it and get it into writing of what the things that you like in those magazines.
Okay, like creating like a mood board almost of like
Yeah.
what like the vision would be. Yeah, I like it. Well, cool. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Sounds good.
Does anyone have anything else then on this? I know we've got more stuff to follow up on, so. Okay, then here, nothing online. Doesn't look like we have any owners, but if anybody else has any comments or anything.
I have one last comment just regarding scheduling with our new, and this is, I do pose this as a question to what you guys would like to do. With this new position opening, I'd like to have it filled in that first week of January. That would really be either Friday the 2nd or Thursday the 2nd or Friday the 3rd or that following week. Usually this committee meets on the first Monday of the month, which would be the 6th. My fear is that we might not have that new specialist onboarded by that date, or if we do, they are 1 or 2 days in. Would you be interested in entertaining the option of pushing your meeting back 1 week to Monday the 13th of January? That way we can most likely, if everything goes as planned, have the marketing specialist at the meeting with a little bit of knowledge under their belt.
Are you guys?
I'm fine with that, you know, we only have January and February.
Right.
Until
Yeah.
we,
Until you turn.
until we turn over
Yeah.
and stay or
Yeah,
not
and that's why I
stay.
didn't want it to be you guys kind of missing out on that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And I think also the first week of the year tends to be really meeting heavy with other things, and there's plenty of other things going on. So
Not everyone's always back.
Yeah,
that first
exactly.
week too. So I think that would be perfect.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Oh.
Doug, is that okay with you? Okay, cool. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you guys. That you guys are always helpful. I really appreciate all your help.
Yeah,
For
I'm
sure.
happy to be here. But does anybody else have anything? No? Doug, are you good?
I'm good. I just feel like crap, so that's why I'm not really talking.
Oh, totally get it. We hope you feel better.
Thank you.
And then Charles, do you have anything? Any final words?
Nope, nothing else.
Cool. Then I'll go ahead and take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
yes.
Second.
Okay. And then all those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Okay, we are adjourned then at 6:46. Thank you all.